Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Tony Sirianni podcast. I am thrilled to have my friend Stan Gregor, the CEO of Summit Financial, with us today. Stan, welcome to the show again.
Oh, Tony, thank you. Thank you. Pleasure to be on again. Great
Uh,
to see you.
it's always good to see you, my friend. Well, let's talk a little bit about what's going on. So, we just wrote an article today that talked about the pace of M&A in
Mhm.
the advisor marketplace. So year to date, just FYI, according to Echelon, 345 I honestly think they're underreporting this. 345 transactions year to date versus 341 in total in last year. So in other words,
Mm.
we're that far ahead, we still have another quarter to go. That's how and last year, of course, was a record year. So this year is going to be another record. We've already broken that record. Um, and also 75% of those are PE backed. So
Mm.
this thing seems to continually, move. There's a lot of robust movement in the area. What are some of your thoughts on those numbers?
I agree with you. I mean, those numbers sound a little low from all the
I
volume
know.
that I'm seeing. I mean, we've probably done what 20 plus transactions this year again. We'll probably closed the year at closer to 30. So
Yeah, see, and that's
those
I think like they were reporting highest numbers like for Mercer and some of these other firms around 14, average deal size around 1.5 billion. I'm like, geez, I know people have done more than 14 this year. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
do think that that's underreported.
Yeah. Well, look, I don't know what the real number is, and I don't know if Echelon even knows, but there's a lot going on. I see it every week. Every week we're in some kind of competitive race with a with a player out there, and either
Well,
we're winning, they're winning.
where's it going to go though? Because at some point, I mean, it's driven by a lot of things. Obviously, aging advisors, right?
Hmm.
New players in the space. Advisors seem to be voting with their feet for the optionality that they want, right? And
Hmm. Right.
it's based a lot on equity. It's based on how you're getting financed, and things like that. There are a lot of subtleties that 10 years ago we wouldn't have been talking about this.
Yeah, I mean, you and I discussed this months ago, right?
Yeah.
The cap table matters, the waterfall matters, the terms of the deal truly matter. And my my concern is there's a lot of deals that are taking place, but I don't know if they are the smart deals for the advisors. Um, a lot of these transactions, Tony, the check is being disguised as a growth strategy, and it's not.
Yeah, yeah.
And I see a lot of transactions take place, and I get the phone calls. Hey, I did a deal, with firm ABC 6 months ago, and their idea of growth is work harder. Well, okay, well that is that is a strategy, but
Well,
that's not why you join a firm.
advisors are kind of stuck in, it's like buying a car, right? So it's like they have your trade-in value, you've got the cost of the car, and you've got the financing. Somewhere in the mix, when they do these equity deals, they're not asking the right questions. They're not trying to figure out, where am I in this? How you talked cap table already, you said waterfall. Some of those terms, I don't know that advisors really know. Like what's the cap table that's big for? Where am I in it? Where's my business in it?
Yeah, well, look, I'm definitely not going to speak ill will of any one of the competitors out there. Everybody's trying to sell their story and win people over, and I understand that. Um, I do think who you partner with matters, whether it's a relationship at home, friends, business, and just taking a paycheck or, a check for doing a deal, that's the oldest profession out there, man. That's not what I would be doing.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
if
you
if if I,
said you
yeah,
talked about growth before,
yeah, yeah,
so that, I mean, you got to be with like-minded people. I think there are some people who do just want to check, hey, I'm going to retire. I'm leaving. That's okay. That's one,
yeah,
that's one deal, right? It's one type of deal. But for your average advisor in their 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s that are they're doing well, they want to keep doing well. So growth
right.
seems to be an important, or really the most important part. Who are you aligning with, and how is that going to help you grow? And then what do you do once you've grown? In other words, you know what I'm saying, Stan. Once you've
Yeah,
grown,
yeah.
does that help your enterprise value, or does it only help the firm who bought you enterprise value? Are they a partner, or who benefits from the growth? That kind of
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it depends. Look, you heard me say it. If you're exiting, take the biggest check, take the cash in payment up, right away, and go retire. That's fine, right? Who you partner with in that example doesn't matter as long as the check clears.
right.
But if you're selling a minority portion of your business and not the entire business, Wow, there is so much that goes into that, Tony, and growth has got to be in there. You can't you can't buy the story of, oh, we're going to help you grow, and there's nothing in there. There's no infrastructure, there's no people, there's no track record, there's no capital. And then to your point, if you do grow somehow, who benefits? Do you, the advisor that owns the rest of your business, benefit, or does the firm that wrote the check benefit? And in most cases, you know the answer. It's the latter, right?
Yeah.
It's not that advisor. So yeah, there's a lot going on in this space.
Well,
This
let's unpack,
minority
let's
purchase.
unpack that a little bit. Let's
Yeah,
unpack that a little bit. So, when you're talking about, an advisor gets themselves into what and I know you've seen because you and I have talked about it, where advisor comes to you with essentially, a plate full of junk that's a wreck.
right,
My cap
right.
table ruined this. I took this money. I didn't know what I was getting into. Can you help me? So we've seen those situations happen.
Mm.
Ha When you say a firm doesn't help you, just be more specific. What are you talking about? Or how you help a guy who comes to you and says, I kind of made a hash of this thing. My cap table's ruined now.
Well, look, Tony, this is not the specialty of most advisors, right? They're not private equity
Right.
deal makers, right? They manage money for their clients. So what you don't know in this example can really hurt you, right? Having a partnership structure where there's a carry and there's deferred interest and there's a waterfall where all the money gets paid first and you're the last guy to get, cashed out. That hurts, right? So that's on deal structure. But to me, it's two things. It's one, deal structure. Two, does the person that you're partnering with truly have the alignment to help you grow? And a lot of the deals that I'm seeing is you have investments being made by businesses that don't even understand our business. They're not even in the RIE space. They're just making an investment. And I use the model that they just taking the profits out of the business for the percentage that they bought. They're not adding value to the advisor. They're not giving the advisor tools to grow their business. They're not bringing new ideas to the advisor, whether it's technology or investments. It's just a partnership, which again, I struggle with that. It's
Well, you've actually coined a phrase with that. You said it's sort of a parasitic relationship. If someone's just putting money in, and even as a minority investor and just taking money out, not helping you grow, what do you call that, right?
yeah, it's a tick. I use the word tick because if you're going to go into business with somebody that writes you a check at upfront, never ever adds any more value going forward, you're going to become resentful. Like, why am I paying that guy or that team or that firm X% of my profits? I'm doing all the work. So yeah, it is parasitic. It's that they're just there to extract their fair share of the percent they bought, but there's very little value, if any value, added to help you grow your business, and that I see over and over.
You talked a lot about alignment. We mentioned it before. So it's this alignment of outcomes that advisors have to kind of figure out. I mean, that's maybe the easiest thing for them to figure out. Well, who's aligned with my outcome? My outcome is I want to grow my business, build my enterprise value for me and my family. Who can help me do that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So Tony, look, you and I discussed this. The partnership that we created with Summit Growth Partners, we did not structure this as a minority investment first. We structured it as a company that can help the advisors grow their practices organically, inorganically. That was our main focal point. We landed in this minority structure because we were asking ourselves, what kind of relationship do we want to have with our partners? And our belief was that we wanted to have just a minority stake, not a controlling stake. We wanted the advisor to get the biggest upside, not us. So we landed in this minority structure. But I hear too many firms out there, discussing, oh, we're a minority purchase program. Well, what does that mean? I mean,
Yeah.
great. So you make a minority investment. What else do you do to help me grow my business? Once I sell a piece of my business, what are you going to do to help me? And in most
Yeah.
cases, it's fairy dust. It's fake.
the- for an advisor who doesn't understand a lot of the terminology, I think you could come in thinking that all this minority stuff is the same, or every one of these purchasers in this is the same. You really got to look at experience in the space because you had also mentioned, yeah, people who are coming into our business, they don't know anything about our business. And I find when I talk to those guys, I mean, these are smart, guys, hedge guys or PE guys, whatever you want to call them. they think they're buying a football team, but they're really buying a baseball team. They're buying a bunch of
Yeah.
individuals that can do what they want. They're not used to being herded into a thing, and you have to deploy some kind of resources for them to help them, build it. I mean, you would think a smart guy would do that just to hedge their investment, just to help them, but they don't.
Yeah, I don't, some of the decisions that people make, I can't comment on, right? That is what it is. But the
Well, your
alignment's got
story,
to be
your
there.
your story is working because you've grown. I want to say, what was the number since 2020? It's like a
5x. We're up like
five bagger.
500% since
Yeah.
2020, probably 5x. Yeah. Maybe approaching even 6x. Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible growth. And how many minority purchases is that then since that time?
Tony, it's probably 50 teams that have joined the partnership since we started the partnership. And the interesting thing is nearly half of our growth came from organic, not just M&A. I mean, we did what 50 M&A transactions or partnerships, but almost half of that increased AUM that the firm has seen has come from organic growth. Teams that have joined us with a healthy practice and coming into our ecosystem and having our resources and our professional services teams, our different products and services that we have access to that they didn't have in the past, and they've grown. They continue to grow. So we that's what we're focused on. If all we are is an M&A shop, that's an old game. You know all the players that did that over the years. They were aggregators, and
Yep.
frankly, I don't know one. I can't think of one that really monetized for the whole team. A few tried, but it
Yeah,
wasn't for the
but
whole team.
it wasn't with the whole team. It was usually the guys,
Yeah.
got their money back or made it, the senior management gets something. That's why these, folks have to really ask a lot of questions when they're getting involved, in these things. But to do that, to create what you've created, it had to be expensive, right? I mean, you're putting money into technology enhancements, I'm assuming, personnel, because you need people to, for estate planning purposes or whatever it might be. I mean, um, it's a big investment on your end.
No, we just did an analysis because we're doing budget planning for 2026, and it actually is very expensive. It's four times as expensive for the growth model versus just the stay in business model. So if I look at if I just had the infrastructure just to have Summit Financial, the RIA survive and thrive and whatever, it cost me X. But this growth model that we have, which is all those additional resources, it's four times that expense. So yeah, it is a lot more expensive, but I view it as an investment, right? If the numbers are there, if the teams are growing, if they're expanding wallet share, that means a lot. And Tony, look, you and I are in the space for a long time. We have zero attrition, right? For what 43 years this firm has been around, and unfortunately, the only few people they lost passed away. I've never seen that before. So the model works. And the guys and gals that join, when they leverage the mothership for its resources, it's usually a good outcome. And it's why I believe you have such stickiness with the clients, the advisors, why the business is growing. All those things you check the box off and it feels good.
Well, you've had like 90% growth, right? AUM growth we were talking about, in the course of a year. And
Yeah.
that's organic and inorganic, I'm assuming, right? Both.
Yeah, I mean, last year was close to 90, probably what, mid 80s, close to 90%, I think. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And I love the zero attrition because that was something that, that shows you have a good culture. And, that was something we at Legg Mason, we always prided ourselves at. All the firms that I've ever worked at or been associated with, you want that low attrition, right? Um, 5 years from now,
Hmm.
where is this going to be? Two things. Where's Summit going to be? And then, where's the industry going to be in that time?
Well, look, we're going to continue to grow. I hope 5 years from now we're a $150 billion, $200 billion company. I mean, that is, we're being strategic and we're being smart who we're bringing in as partners.
Yeah.
We're not doing a land grab. It's not a, hey, let's buy all the revenue or AUM out there. We go through a vetting process of joining the partnership. To your point, I mean, you want to bring the right people into the right ecosystem, right? So you don't want to have the wrong people join. But your question about the industry, I think a lot of this salesmanship that we're seeing out there of these purchase models, whether it's minority or something purchase, I think you're going to see who's the real deal, who's not.
Yeah.
It too many stories of hopism. Small companies, they're going to go public. Really? Like, there's no revenue there. I mean, maybe there's revenue, but it's not the profitability of a publicly traded company.
Yeah,
So
well, that's endemic in this industry. Hey, we're a $50 billion firm. You make $500,000 a year. What's the?
yeah, big deal. Big deal. I mean, a PE shop would have an interest in that. Going public, I doubt the public market would be holding on to that stock very long.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, but I do think the aggregators, some investments I question, and the prices they pay I really question, and that is going to hurt the rest of the value of the business that wasn't sold, in my opinion.
Well, with
Right. So
all these transactions, I mean, look, you know this business, that part of the business better than I do, but in they've got a 5 year time horizon or a 7 year time horizon. All those places they made these deals. What's going to happen then when
yeah.
they've got to make these transitions or they've got to unload these properties that, as we said, they didn't really. I mean, they invested money, but they didn't invest anything else in it. So what is it going to be worth? I mean, they're sort of counting on valuations to go up, you know?
Well, look, I'm a PE investor, and I love the space from a personal standpoint. And when I do invest, it's usually a 4 or 5, 6 year window of trying to get a return.
Yeah.
Uh, it's Tony. It's not always those companies that I invest in are not always growing like we're describing here. Some of it is cost cutting, some of it is merging two companies together, getting more efficiencies and whatnot. So the outcome for the investor, the PE shop, it usually works out. I don't know if it always works out for the rest of the group, right? That's not consistent. That's why what we did at Summit, we aligned our equity with our partners, right? What happens to us happens to them. It's a full alignment. It's basically one shared class mentality.
Yeah. Well, you've always said it's like family. You want to treat everybody like it were your kids going to business with you. And I always thought
Yeah.
that was a good analogy. Um, well, what about technology? I mean, technology has created great efficiencies. I know you've invested in it. It's also the kind of thing that's changing so rapidly, sometimes I wonder if it's not better to be a small firm and nimble than a big firm making. I mean, I can't see
Yeah.
investing 300 million in AI at this point when we don't know where it's going to be and you can outsource a lot of that.
Well, you mentioned AI, so we have an innovation committee rather. We meet every quarter with our members. We're always scanning for what else is out there. I believe right now we have 14 different AI technologies that are going through the vetting process, the labs, right, the Summit Lab of reviewing these technologies. And it's pretty cool stuff. Some of it is AI powered to get leads, customer leads to
Yeah.
advisors. Some of it is on the portfolio management side. Some of it is streamlining trust documents, wills, and whatnot, and doing kind of a scan of those
Yeah.
documents and kind
That
of like
that's
a chat.
fascinating, that stuff.
Yeah.
What it can do on the legal side is like what it can do for the medical profession. It really can diagnose
Oh
some
my God.
legal. It's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, you can read it, you can input a trust document, scan it, and within an hour, you get a full summary of what's in there and what the voids are and what the upside. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Where this technology is going is just amazing. So you have to invest. Again, people say I don't want to spend money. Well, you need to invest to grow. Otherwise, you're not going to grow, and somebody else will win that client and will win that relationship. And then at that time, it's too late. So
Yeah.
we need to stay nimble and smart
Yeah,
and ahead.
scale is necessary, and as technology and efficiencies improve, you would think, oh, well, we don't need scale so much, but you actually at this point in time, it feels like you do need some scale. If you're an RIA out there alone, you don't have time to have a committee meeting or a lab, go over this stuff. You hope that Schwab eventually tells you, hey, this is going on or that's going on, but you really got it. You're on your own to make this happen.
It is. It is. When we come across new teams that are considering, the partnership, I get the question all the time, like, what's different? What do I get? And I tell them it's not just one thing, right? Technology, great. And anybody who knows technology, you can visualize what that feels and looks like.
Yeah.
But yes, it's technology, but it's the platform, it's the professional services teams, the people that are super knowledgeable about things that most advisors maybe are not experts in. That those are your team members, and they are there to listen and help you add value and have you go back to your clients with a different look and feel, winning a total relationship versus just a piece of the pie. We hear that story over and over again. So there are so many components, right? That's on the organic side. On the M&A side, we actually built out a whole M&A department within Summit. That team works with the advisors and helps them with acquisitions, helps them with tuck-ins, helps them with partnerships,
Succession.
uh, succession planning. Yeah, I mean it's the full circle. I mean it's all those things together that add value. And I look at the class of, call it 23, I'm sorry, 24 and 25 that recently joined. There's a number of teams already that are up four, five, $600,000 in fees just this year alone. Plus, they've done a few M&A deals already,
Yeah.
and that was never in their purview before. That didn't exist.
Well, that's what you love to hear as a CEO, right? That's what
Yeah.
you're trying to do. I mean, that's fantastic. Well, look, I think that's kind of a high note. I kind of want to leave it there. But is there anything else that I didn't go over that you wanted me to hit on before we go?
Now you're very thorough, Tony. You know how to ask what you want to hear. So we appreciate what you do for the industry, and thank
Always.
you for the candor and bringing it out. And I'm just honored to be here today, and I thank you for the invitation.
Hey, my pleasure, Stan. We'll talk again, and this is exciting stuff. So, your guys going to be at the forefront of this stuff as we keep going. So, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.